Hey guys, so I want to talk today about overcoming obstacles in the context of math and development. So, long story short, I have been developing this tool to get to know the prices of um, basically real estate here in Venezuela, and I faced the first issue where these companies they have already detection mechanisms where they know if you're a bot or not. And here's the thing. So I was talking with my sister yesterday, and I told her I don't think that I'm dumb. What I think is that I am impatient, and that turns out to be true. And I would say not like anyone is dumb. Like I think you are not dumb. I think you are impatient. And what I want to say by this is that I faced that particular issue and then I didn't understand or know what to do to solve it. So that forced me to understand how bot detection algorithm works. And the way it works based on what I read was first they detect the time intervals between the pages that you visit. So bots can scan a lot of pages in a matter of milliseconds, where humans they browse differently, they do scrolls, they do keystrokes, and yeah, it's random the amount of scroll they do. So some of these websites only have like the time detection between pages, and others they have like custom code that detects browser and user activity, and then it determines whether you are likely a bot or no using machine learning. So just a prediction model, that's it. And I think it's interesting, however, in this particular situation, I was feeling very frustrated because I just wanted the solution. I wanted the thing implemented and that's it. However, at the same time, why are you wanting to get it fast? Like, why do you want to get it as done as possible? I understand that in my case could be, well, you could probably just showcase it and access more jobs and whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's a good reason. But if you are not enjoying what you're learning, if you're not enjoying this process, then what you are like, why are you doing it on the first place? I'm not saying that everything is enjoyable, because hitting bugs that you don't know how to solve isn't qualified as, or yeah, isn't enjoyable at all. However, I think it's a matter of reframing in terms of what I think it's interesting about this project is that it gave me another perspective about like how the internet and the hackers could work in terms of like hackers right now, and even with like AI and whatnot, they can accelerate the development of these bots. And now with large language models, they are able to just, I would say, detect or maybe decide the best pattern or the best particular element to click, and they are able to behave more humanly. Like, they're able to just, I think it's very generative, I would say, procedural. I don't know what's the right word, but I think it's interesting. And it gave me another perspective about how these bots work at a scale. So I think it's an interesting project, but again, if you're not understanding what you're doing, then you probably should hit pause, go step back, and then try to learn it again. So the same thing happened. So I'm learning linear algebra right now, and I forgot a lot of things, like how to analyze a function, like a linear function. How do you analyze that? Or how do you solve a system of equations? Or if a system of equations only apply for linear equations, which turns out it's not. System of equations can be any type of equation. The only thing is that the only assumption is that both values or whatever values you are solving for, or variables, whatever, they share the same system basically, or the same universe if you wanted to see it that way. So when you want to try to learn or apply certain knowledge, like for example you want to learn about, I don't know, let's say linear algebra and vectors, which is basically just a lot of vector multiplication math, the dot product, like, you need to understand that you cannot rush it. You need to understand the basis. If you have a weak basis or a weak foundation, you're not going to understand the rest, because math, it's, I would say, like an additive process where you need the prior knowledge in order to move forward to the next. Like, you cannot know how to multiply if you don't know how to sum, and you cannot know how to sum if you don't know how to count. And it can go further. So the thing is that you need patience, and I'm saying this for myself mostly, but if I have to share it with the rest of the world, I would say you need patience. And this thing is like, here's the thing: if you want to solve real interesting problems in the world, there is no this training montage that's going to happening and whatever. Like, you need to defantasize about it. There is like, you see these movies like the one from the Facebook movie and whatever, they were like hacking with beers and everyone was like rooting for them. That's not hacking at all. Like, hacking is probably the most boring process and a large tedious process to perform. So we cannot romanticize the study process. As a matter of fact, you could say that when you're creating new knowledge in your head, or you're actually trying, when your head hurts, because you're physically burning the neurons to create the new connections. So that's the process. It's a painful, boring process. You don't have to like it, but you need to do it. The same thing is with debugging things. Like this app, I didn't know how bot detection worked. I needed to go and read about it. I realized that if I want to scrape an entire website, I need to use rotating proxies, or I need to use concurrent agents or subroutines that go and do things, and I need to implement queues in order to be able to store the results of said things, and I need WebSockets. But here's the interesting thing. I think the issue with learning is that we have a curriculum of things. We have established, I would say, almost linear path where we know what we're going to learn. However, since we are not in the need of learning those things, we don't see the applicability. Therefore, we forget it. The thing is that when we are studying in the, I don't know, could be university, could be high school, whatever. When you're studying in those areas, you have a curriculum of, let's say, calculus and geometry and these things. You learn how to do the calculus, you learn the mechanical process of doing the calculus, but you don't know why a derivative is a derivative, why it's called like that, or why the relationship between the derivative and the tangent line and the tangent line, and all of these important concepts. So math has a lot of applicability. Programming is really amazing, it's really interesting, but it's not sexy, dude. Like, it's probably very boring. You have to understand that. It might help you to do more personal projects, things that you're really interested on. You need to understand that the only person who is going to count you or hold you accountable is going to be yourself. So it's easy to give up because you're like, well, I wasn't serious about it, whatever. The thing is that you need to, I would say, even love yourself, because I would say keeping you accountable is another way of loving yourself. And if I don't say that you need to feel passionate about this, you don't have to. If you just want to learn and be relevant for the future, you don't have to be passionate about it. Turns out that you're more passionate about the things that you become good at. So, for example, I wasn't born passionate about automation and low code. Turns out I learned a lot of low code and no code automations, and now I love it. I think the same thing happens with math, happens with programming, happens with any skill that you want to develop, even with exercise. Like, there is a lot of people that didn't want to go to the gym. Once they started going, they love the gym. So it's this thing that we love the things that we are competent to do, and to become competent, you need to fail a lot of times and suck a lot of times. So it's part of the process, but you need patience. You need to breathe. Things are hard. They aren't just like straightforward. Take it one step at a time. Try to divide the problem to the smallest unit possible. So, for example, this like bot detection thing was a lot of things. Could be rotating proxies. Could be scroll like a human. It could be making click instead of going to the hrefs. Could be doing keystrokes instead of just copying and pasting the value into an input box or a search box. So what's the smallest problem I can tackle right now? So you could say, well, let's tackle the keystroke. It's literally just another method from page class in Playwright, and that's it. So you need to give yourself some love, man, or women, if you are watching this. You need to breathe. You need to. I understand there's a lot of pressure right now to learn and to do things and to become better, and there's a lot of people like making a lot of money, whatever. I believe you can be one of those people. Absolutely, you can be, but you need patience. They have been training, they have been doing projects more consistently that you have done them. So you cannot expect the same results they have. So instead of sharing your stupid certificate on LinkedIn, which, by the way, I'm very responsible of doing, because I had this stupid belief that the more certifications you had, the more qualified you were. Turns out it's not. Turns out the ones that are building serious shit and like publishing it to the public and just making real stuff, they are the ones who are qualified. And turns out you learn more by doing. It's a more tedious, destructive, and annoying process, but it's the best one. So put aside your emotions, put aside the belief that it needs to feel correct or feel good to be done, and start operating on a different mindset where, regardless of how you feel, you need to do it consistently. That's the thing that will help you. So that's the rant for today. Happy Saturday. Hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. Talk soon.